Welcome to India New News. Our guest today is Rishab Rikhiram Sharma. He's one of the youngest sitarists today, and also he is the last student of Pandit Ravi Shankar. He is going to perform at Chinmaya Mission in Boston on June 25th. We are going to talk to him about his sitar journey, and he's also doing a lot of other stuff in New York City related with music. So Rishab, welcome to our show, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Namaskar.
Excellent, good. So before we come and I ask you some questions about your personal journey, I want to start with Pandit Ravi Shankar. How was it to learn from him, and what you can tell us and our viewers about Pandit Ravi Shankar?
So I was very young when I went to Guruji. I was in my formative years. And before that, I used to play. I started my musical journey by learning Indian vocals. And then I moved on to the guitar because, it was just a cool instrument to play. And also at the same time, my parents weren't letting me touch a sitar even because, it's so sacred and it's so, you have to have proper discipline to even hold that instrument. So I was very young. I was getting better at guitar, and then there was this one broken shipment that came. So I belong from a family of musical instrument makers. We call the Rikhirams, and so Guruji.
And the four generations, right?
Yeah, 4 generations. So I'm the 4th generation, and my dad is like the best sitar maker, best instrument maker in the whole world. So, I mean, that's a different topic, but
sure, yeah, we'll come back to that, but let's stay
yes,
with Pandit
yeah,
Ravi
let's,
Shankar.
Guruji. So I started getting better at guitar, and then, there was this one broken shipment that came. It was returned by a client because, I think FedEx or someone, broke the sitar. So my dad fixed it and, kept it to dry on a wall. And I was very intrigued. I was like, Dad, can I try this? Because this is already broken. How much can I break this? So I picked up that sitar. He was like, okay, he let me play that sitar because it was, it wasn't, in perfect condition. And the moment I started playing, I figured out Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni Sa, and I figured out, a couple of songs, and, within a few minutes I was playing full melodies. And he was very surprised. He was like, how are you doing this? I was like, it's just, the frets are just like the guitar, so it's very, very easy. So he was like, okay, so from tomorrow I'll start your lessons. And that's how my sitar journey started. And so my dad prepared a piece for me to play for my grandfather.
If you don't mind, what is the name of your dad, if you can share with us?
His name is Sanjay Rikhiram.
Okay, good.
So he taught me this piece in, a folk tune in Tilak Ka Mod. And I prepared that piece to, perform at my grandfather's Barsi, which is like a 4-year death anniversary, right? And when I played that, that recording was uploaded on YouTube by one of the audience members, and that recording went to my Guruji's wife, Chinnama, and then she showed it to Guruji. See, this is a young boy playing the sitar. So my Guruji pointed out that, oh, this is Sanjay's child. This is Rishab. And he immediately called up my dad, and he was so happy because my dad made his sitars, right? So he was so happy. He called my dad. He's like, I'm so happy Rishab has started playing. Why didn't you tell me that, Rishab is playing sitar now? And because as children, we literally, were walking, holding Guruji's fingers and, around the Ravi Shankar Center. Like that's like one of my earliest memories of Guruji. Like I was holding on to his pinky finger.
And the Ravi Shankar Center where?
That's in Chanakyapuri, Delhi.
In Delhi, okay.
So we used to walk around the campus of the center, of the ashram, and 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 he used to say to my dad very often that this is the fourth generation I'm carrying in my hands, because he knew
Okay.
my great
So
grandfather, then he knew my grandfather, and now he was associated with my dad. Now, like, he's meeting me. So four
I'm
generations of.
just hoping that you are having a sitar nearby you. So I love to hear a few strings from there if you have nearby later on. But let's.
Yeah, but coming back to this, Guruji had like a four generational relationship with us,
Mhm.
going back to my great grandfather, my grandfather, then my dad making their sitars, and then finally, teaching me. So he was only one of the only few people to exist who had witnessed four generations of our family.
That's
Like, right,
interesting. Huh?
right from 1940s. So he
Mhm.
saw my great grandfather, my grandfather, my dad, and then I.
Mhm.
So it was more than just a guru
Si-
shishya relationship. It was like much more than that.
So now I have to ask you one question.
Yeah.
So if I asked you to distill down everything he told you about music and learning and playing, what is the one thing which really a learner of a music or instrument should really focus on? What was that one lesson from Pandit Ravi Shankar?
So Guruji was very, very good with wordplay. Like, he would say very meaningful things in a matter of few words, and very in short sentences. He would tell a big story. But a few things that I remember, aside from having discipline and having the right mindset, patience and all that comes with the music, and the qualities you need to hold to even absorb this music. He used to say, I don't know how many viewers would understand Hindi, but he used to say, "ये करतब की विद्या है, करोगे तब मिलेगी." So that's how he emphasized, कि करोगे तभी मिलेगा, अगर
Sure.
नहीं करोगे तो नहीं मिलेगा.
Mhm.
So he emphasized the value of practice and riyaz, like the daily practice.
Mhm.
How kartab means performing arts. So he
Mhm.
was a very interesting wordplay, but it kind of stuck with me. I was like, Guruji, that's very smart. Also, I was like a 12, 13-year-old child, so I wasn't that mature to understand the gravity of the
Mhm.
words he would say. But this was like one of the things that really stuck with me.
And how often you practice now?
So I've been teaching, and
Mhm.
I'm also doing my riyaz. I'm performing. I do events. Then I also handle the family business. So I'm fully immersed in music. So I my total playing time, comes out to 6 to 8 hours.
A day.
Yeah.
A day. So now let us talk about where you are located right now and what you are doing right now currently.
Yeah. So I am currently in New York City. We were in California for a while, but New York City was really the energy that I was looking for,
Mhm.
and I finally found a city there where there are a lot of opportunities and a lot of scope to explore my musicality and explore myself as a musician. So I have been collaborating with different artists, from rappers to jazz artists to yeah, Western classical artists, and I'm training Western classical artists also to play Indian music. So I ultimately want to form a Indian orchestra
Mhm.
here in the US, which will be like uh, one of its kind orchestra that to exist here.
Earlier when you were talking about playing guitar and then suddenly you found a broken sitar and a fixed sitar and you started to play sitar. Can you tell us, to our viewers something about that, how easy it is or how difficult it is or challenging it is from switch to one Western string instrument to the Indian string instrument or vice versa?
So I would say guitar was relatively easier to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Sitar requires a lot of discipline. Even just to hold the sitar, you need to be in the proper posture and in the proper asana. In proper positioning needs to happen before even you can hold the sitar properly. I mean, that's another thing if you just sit on the couch and play, but that's not how traditionally it's played. So just to hold the sitar, it took me a while to learn, and then the technique, like bending the notes, precision of mean, which is how we pull the string and get notes. So that requires a lot of practice and a lot of ear training. Okay, so I'll pull this much and then I'll get this note.
So that's
So
very precise. How do you
very,
train for that?
very precise. And guitar only has 6 strings, but sitar has about 19 strings. So you have to keep all of them in tune, and according to every rag, you have to change the tuning. So people just look at the sound of the sitar, but don't realize like what goes into it. But I also look at it as a maker's perspective because that's my background. So it's very different, and sitar is a whole different league. But at the same time, guitar is a good introduction into like strings and frets and all that. So I'm glad like how I navigated and maneuvered from guitar to sitar. It was like a very best of both worlds kind of a situation.
And that's what you're trying to do, some sort of East meets West, right?
West, yeah.
I think there was an album by Pandit Ravi Shankar.
Right, correct.
I remember that,
Correct.
listening many years ago. Sure, yeah.
Correct.
Excellent. Now, I think the Boston, your performance, I just want to talk about that a little bit. On June 25th at Chinmaya Mission. And have you performed before in Boston, or this will be your first performance?
So I have visited Boston many times, but this is going to be my very first performance ever.
Okay. Do you have any idea what you are going to play here?
I haven't. I don't like to plan. I would usually like prepare. Not prepare. I would just think about like which rag I'm going to play, like either a day before or on the day of the event. So just to see how I'm feeling that day.
And how did this Boston visit plan out? How did this happen?
So this happened through my father. So the organizers were in touch with my father about some musical instruments, and then they discovered me through him. And then I think I was doing the India tour when all of this was happening. I think that's how it happened, and
we are looking forward to listening to your play and watching you here in Boston. Yeah. Now, I'm just curious. Do you have any sitar nearby? You can just
if you give me like 2 minutes, I can just tune it up.
Okay, good. Yeah. Meanwhile, can we keep talking or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Yeah, sure. Okay. Now, other question is if you can a little bit tell us about how long you lived in India and what brought you to US.
I was in India for the first 17 years of my life. I completed my education, my high school education in India, and then I was coming here to apply for colleges and for my further education. And also my dad's, majority of his clientele was in the US. It's very sad that in India, people aren't playing sitar as much. We're also losing musicians, role models left and right. So in order to get better business opportunities, and just to expand our business from India and provide more customer support for, the US clients. So we started, looking for cities where we could, set up shop. So California was one option, and then more than California, we got a great response from New York. Because New York people were so deprived of good sitars and good Indian musical instruments that we started our shop here in New York. So that's when
So I think you said something very interesting, and it says always have thought about it. When I think about the future of the Indian classical instruments and Indian classical music, I think the technology today has really given a whole worldwide platform around the world. And so my guess is that the demand even from the Westerners is really increasing for the Eastern instruments and also the Eastern music as well, because of calmness and the stuff which the Indian music provides. Is that true?
It is very true, and also I think there was a boom of Indian music in the 60s because of the Beatles and Ravi Shankar collaboration. So I think that really just blasted Indian classical music throughout the world.
Yeah.
But after that, I saw, we're seeing a decline again. So it was like it went up, now it's going back down. So I think we need like new role models, and we need, new ways to promote Indian classical music in the youths, and around the world. We need to find a different way and different narrative to, bring it back. So that's something I think about a lot, like how we can make classical music more relevant again.
Yeah. And the interest, and also there is a lot of the Indian populations, settled up overseas. So I'm sure there should be also there should be some demand from them as well as from the Western audience as well, right?
As you said, there's only some demand, so
Yeah.
there's
Okay.
a lot of
Yeah.
demand
Yeah.
because I'm pretty impressed by how families who've moved to the US are still keeping the culture alive. A lot of them are keeping the culture alive even more than people back in India. So I have to, give them the credit. But at the same time, there are a lot of families though that who have abandoned our culture, abandoned the language, abandoned music, abandoned how we dress, just the culture completely. So that's very sad to see. But you can't have everyone on board also. Like also in India, everyone is crazy after Western music. So that's just that's something that you can't whine about.
Okay. Excellent. Good. So now, did you find your sitar nearby or no?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So just give me 2 minutes, I'll set up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are talking today with Rishab Rikhiram Sharma, and he is the young rising star of sitar in India, and also now he is expanding and in the United States. In India, he has performed at a number of shows and events, and he has been a featured artist at number of television stations in India as well. So here he is, and so Rishabh, let's listen. I'm really excited to see how. And if you can also, somebody who is not very familiar with sitar, you were talking about how the twisting or folding those strings, etc. If you can just give us a brief demo, that will be fantastic too.
So absolutely. So this is the traditional sitar. This is called the Ravi Shankar style of the sitar, and so this has the second gourd, which is attached to the sitar, and then there's a big gourd here, and this is a bridge over which the string goes, and that creates the sound. And sitar has curved frets, so that allows us to bend. So from one note, you can get multiple notes. So
wonderful. Already it's exciting. Yes, absolutely.
So, I was talking about mean and precision. This is what I really enjoyed about the sitar, that we could bend so much and, get so much out of just one place.
And in guitar, doesn't happen that,
No,
right?
guitar doesn't have that kind of bending capacity.
Okay.
I'm sure guitar has a lot of things that, the sitar doesn't have, but, this was something that you really, touched my heart. So
Okay.
I was really gravitated towards this.
Yeah, if you can just play something for just 1 minute or 30 seconds, that will be great.
I'll play this since it's morning right here. So I'll play this raag called Alayya Bilawal.
Excellent. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely.
I just
I think,
also pardon my mistakes.
yeah, no, it was absolutely, a fantastic. I know it was very quick, just
Yeah,
uh,
I've first we have to warm up for some time and then we play. But
right, yeah, yeah. No,
this
I
is
think
one
we
of
are
my
really
favorite
looking
parts.
forward to welcoming you here in Boston, your performance here, and I'm sure you'll make many more visits as we.
Absolutely, we are definitely planning another Sitar for Mental Health tour in the whole US, not just
Mhm,
Boston. So, Sitar for Mental Health is a little initiative of mine to
mhm.
promote the dialogue about mental health awareness, and at the same time, promoting Indian classical music and the traditional
So,
music.
so how did you get into the mental health? That how got interest there?
See, during the pandemic, we were all going through a lot of stress, anxiety, and depression also. And I was also going through similar things. And so I share my story a lot, and how music helped me out of it, and how I used it as
So,
as
can you, if you don't mind, can you share your story?
yeah, absolutely. So it started with I my when my grandfather passed away. So
Hmm.
that was in September 2020, and he was like, I was very attached to him, even more than my parents.
Hmm.
I was attached to him. He was like my third parent.
Hmm.
And I would FaceTime him every other day, and you call him, play for him. He was like my biggest fan. So,
Hmm.
and we used to play songs together,
Well,
like
I have
old
become
Bollywood
your fan too now.
songs. So I would just call him, and we'll play old Bollywood songs, and he would sing. He was a great singer. He was an
Hmm.
amazing voice.
Hmm.
and and he was like my best friend. He was we would talk about my girlfriends and everything, so it was very
Hmm.
natural and a beautiful relationship. So I was completely heartbroken when he left us in September 2020, and I was going through a lot of anxiety and depression.
Hmm.
So, but at the same time, I wasn't practicing because I wasn't feeling like it.
Hmm.
So then I went to a therapist. I visited a therapist once, and what the juice of the conversation was that I wasn't practicing, and music was my happy place, and
Hmm.
music is what could heal me.
Hmm.
So when I
I think
started going,
I'm so glad that you are talking about this mental health issue,
yeah,
because especially in the Indian American community, or even in India, the
yeah,
mental issue is one which is always denied and not
denied,
accepted,
yeah, yeah.
and we need a lot of courage to talk about it. And I think it's a very good service you are doing to the community, because it's just a disease. If it is there, it should be taken care of. As simple as
Yeah.
that. There should be no stigma attached to
See,
that. So
it's like it's I wouldn't call it a disease. Like if you are down with the flu, right? Like if
right,
you
yeah,
can be down with the
no,
flu, I can. So, but it also can heal, right? It's not like once you're once you have a flu, you're just gonna be mentally unwell or unwell for the rest of your life. You
yeah.
know, once you're mentally unwell, you can be well by these coping mechanisms, be it may like poetry, painting, sitar, music, or just talking, therapy. There's a lot of coping mechanisms, but this one worked the best for me,
Yeah.
and I want to share this with the world, that this is also a method that you can heal yourself with.
So to give me one example, like I know the music is, I love music too. And how the music really helped you come out of that the depression during the pandemic.
So more than depression, it was anxiety, because
Okay.
I went from performing from 65,000 people to like no one, just being
Mm-hmm.
locked in a room. So
Mm-hmm.
that really built up that thinking like ab kya hoga, like what will happen now, and my career is over, my this thing is over. I was like growing, my graph was up like that. So I just started going live on Facebook, Instagram, and Clubhouse. There was another platform that
Mm-hmm.
was like very popular at that time. So I just started going live and playing for whatever amount of people were there, like 3, 4. I didn't care. I was like, I'm just doing this to heal myself, and I'm just want to have an outlet
Mm-hmm.
that I just want to play. So slowly after each and every session, I would do it like every other day. And
Mhm.
after, every session there will be like these long messages in my DMs or my inbox,
Mhm.
that how much they enjoyed the playing, how much it helped their, they were in a bad mood, so it uplifted their mood. It helped their mental health and mental psyche. Just put them in a better place, and that very really motivated me, and I kept doing that. And from three people, Upendra ji, it grew to 3,000 people
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
every session 3,000 people right there listening
Mhm.
all over the world. And there were so many people talking about mental health. I was like, this is a beautiful transaction that I've just discovered, that I am healing myself, I am having an outlet, I'm playing for them. At the same time, they're also feeling good about their mental health. So we were both sharing the same experience. So why not call this Sitar for mental health? Then I started calling it Sitar for mental health, and slowly the audience kept growing, and then they, started saying that we need to get this experience in person. And then I organized a tour with an organization in India, and then we did our first tour in November and December. So we did like 6 cities. We did Pune, Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai, and then I just came from the tour like 3 days ago. We did 11 city tour this time.
In India.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the audience has been tripled, not even doubled, since the last
Mhm.
tour. So Sitar for mental health, I see it growing a lot, and I
Mhm.
work. I want to work in the mental health space at least for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think that's a great. I think that you will make a huge contribution to the community and
Yeah,
society. I
yeah.
think that's really
We've
needed.
gotten so much press. We've gotten so much attention, and I mean it's nothing right now, but it's a beginning. I can see it becoming much greater. I can see people having like people coming in for mass meditations, full of
Mhm.
auditoriums, and it's that's what I want to plan now, and I want to bring all of this into the US also. I've done 3 shows in New York.
Mhm.
I mean, this show that we are doing, I'm very excited about that. It's going to be more classical, but like Sitafa Mental Health shows, we do the first half is classical, but the second half we play some fun music also.
Here in Boston too, right?
In Boston, it's going to be more classical because
More
it's
classical. Okay.
so
Okay.
I'll that's like a tribute to him. So,
Okay.
but when we come back with Sitafa Mental Health in Boston, then we'll have the whole experience where we do breathing exercises, we do audience interaction, we do music, of course, and then we also do fun things like Pink Panther and blues on the sitar and all
Oh,
that.
excellent. Excellent. No, I think it sounds like a very fun beginning of a very fun and
I just
exciting
want people to
adventure.
leave the auditorium with a smile on their face.
Exactly.
That's my sole goal,
Exactly.
and that's what we have been able to achieve also.
Okay. So
So
now, as we come closer to the end of this interview, I really must really congratulate you for raising awareness about the mental issue. That's absolutely fantastic,
thank
and
you.
that issue has to be really brought up. So really, thank you very much for doing that. And we are looking forward to welcoming you in Boston, and it's going to be exciting. I'm just listening to you on just on instantly about Zoom, which is sounded absolutely fantastic. So now, also in the very beginning, you mentioned that you also were, more like a vocal singer.
Mhm.
You sang, and I am a big, fan of Bollywood songs and sometimes ghazals. So
Hmm.
before I let you go, I would really appreciate if you can just sing just one line of your any Bollywood or any ghazal or anything.
Instead
Can
of
you
Bollywood,
or
let me sing a little bit of this Himachali bhajan that I really like. It's called Shiv Kilasho Ke Vasi.
okay?
So I'm actually Himachali myself. Like my
Okay.
mom is Himachali, my dad is half Himachali.
Uh-huh.
So we all know this bhajan. It's called Shiv Kilashogin, and I very deeply feel connected to Shiva.
Okay.
My whole family is very deeply connected to Shiva. So Hmm. 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 शिव कैलाशों के बासी धौलीदारों के राजा, शंकर संकट हरणा। शिव कैलाशों के बासी धौलीदारों के राजा, शंकर संकट हरणा। शंकर संकट हरणा. So I'm gonna sing this bhajan also when I come to Boston.
Oh, that's excellent.
A little teaser.
Excellent. Rishab, it was really a pleasure talking to you, and definitely I'll be in the audience, and I have become your fan too now, so you can count me as your fan too.
Thank you so much, Abhendraji. It was a great interview, and India, New England News is doing great work, covering events like these. And, Chinmaya Mission, I would like to thank also for inviting me. And I so look forward to meeting you guys. We've been chatting for a while, and finally we'll, share our energies together and be in the same room. So
sure, absolutely. I feel like I've known you for so many years. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sure.